Have you ever noticed that love only feels painful when you're desperately trying to receive it, but not when you're giving it? Okay, sit with that for a moment. Think about the times that you loved a man freely, okay, without expectation, without calculation, just from a genuine place in your heart. But the moment that the energy is not returned, everything changes, right? Suddenly, the act of giving becomes clouded with resentment and doubt. You begin wondering, why hasn't he texted me back? Did I say something wrong? What changed? That pure love now begins to feel like energy slipping through your hands, right? Like you're losing something instead of sharing something. And that's where the pain begins. The pain does not come from love itself. It comes from the expectation of receiving it and the experience of being denied. So then the question becomes, is it really that you want him to love you? Or is it that you want to be chosen by him? Because those are not the same thing. There's a part of the human psyche, especially if you experienced abandonment, rejection, or unworthiness early in life, that equates being chosen with being valuable. When someone withholds love from you, okay, your mind often elevates their value automatically. You subconsciously think, well, if I'm not receiving love from him, then he must be more important than me, right? He must be higher status or have something that I lack. And without realizing it, you begin to chase not love, but validation. You start believing that if this man finally sees your worth and chooses you, then you feel complete, then you feel worthy, and then you'll be healed. But that never truly works, does it? If you're new to the channel, my name is Ismael Gomez. I'm a coach, writer, and speaker, and I want to invite you to pause whatever else that you're doing right now, okay? Stop multitasking. Take a moment to slow down and be fully present and absorb these lessons. They have the power to transform not just how you connect with men, but how you relate to yourself. Okay, so let's begin. Number 1, why rejection feels so personal. One of the phrases that I always mention here on the channel is that no one is inherently special, only your mind makes them so. If a man's rejection feels painful, it's because you placed a lot of value in his approval. Now, the powerful shift happens when you as a woman move from wanting to be chosen to allowing yourself to be fully seen. To be chosen is passive. It's rooted in hope. You know, you wait, you adjust, you perform. But to be seen, okay, to display who you are is rooted in truth. Now, the other scenario is when many of my clients come and tell me, but Ismael, you know, he saw how special I was. You know, he was caring and consistent, and then he stopped. That must mean that something is wrong with me. But let me challenge that belief, all right? Think of a movie that you loved 10 years ago, or maybe you had a song that you used to listen to, you know, a decade ago that you were really obsessed with, and you connected with those very deeply, right? It spoke to something in you. But now, maybe you play the same song now and you feel nothing. I mean, you might even skip it, right? So what changed? Not the song, you changed. Your taste, your energy, your priorities, they shifted. What once resonated no longer does. And that's how human connections work. When someone pulls away, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with you. It means the connection is no longer aligned. And connection is never one-sided, right? It's co-created. It requires two people choosing each other continuously, not once, not at the start, but over time. Does that make sense, ladies? Because I know that a lot of you, I see it in the comments, you know, you've been watching the videos, you've been getting the lessons, but some of you still feel stuck in your love life. Like, you don't know how to implement these things. You don't know what steps to take next. And maybe, just maybe, you need some professional guidance, all right? So I know that it's difficult to open up to a stranger, okay, and getting help. But if you ever need help, again, on the pinned comment, you can always apply because my team and I are here to support you. Number 2, trauma bonding. Another thing that keeps you wanting to be chosen is if you're experiencing something called trauma bonding. This is a powerful emotional connection that forms between you and a man, where you keep going back to him for moments of intense passion and attraction, even though he also makes you experience deep pain and manipulation. Now, a crucial keyword in all of this is intensity, okay? Those overwhelming feelings that might make you believe that you're deeply in love with this man, but you've actually just become addicted to the vicious cycle of highs and lows like a drug, and you don't know how to quit. Now, let me give you an example from my own life. So, I dated this girl a while back, and the thing with this relationship is that I had never experienced such intense sexual chemistry so quickly. I mean, in the first few weeks of just getting to know her, we were dancing until 3 a.m., having a blast, doing crazy stuff, and there was so much passion that we couldn't keep our hands off each other. Now, while I agree that chemistry is important in a couple, it should never overshadow your ability to identify red flags, because this girl was a walking red flag, and I was ignoring all of that by just plainly focusing on those accelerating moments that we were sharing. Now, eventually, I started paying close attention, and I realized that there was no way that I could build a healthy relationship with this woman, so I decided to walk away. But you see, something that happens in a trauma-bonding relationship is that what we call chemistry is many times anxiety. Really, I mean, an adrenaline rush that we have because this person is completely unpredictable, and many of us interpret it as a sign of a strong connection rather than recognizing it as a response to potential harm. Like, think about when you get on a roller coaster ride, okay, or you jump from a very high place. Many times, what do we say afterwards? Oh man, that was so much fun. But was it really, or was it so dangerous that the adrenaline rush made it feel like fun? Another sign of trauma bonding is when you fixate only on the positive moments, often ignoring the harmful ones. And many times this really happens due to the man using intermittent reinforcement, which is really alternating between positive and negative behaviors. Like, imagine if your partner is going to work today, okay, and before he leaves the house, he kisses you and he says, "I love you." Now that's going to feel nice for a second, right? But what if you were in an intense argument and he yelled at you, and he shut the door and then he left, and for 3 days he didn't speak to you, and then he came back, he gave you a kiss and he said, "I love you, I'm sorry." And that positive moment is going to carry a lot more weight in your mind because you had a negative one before it. So what happens is that you start making your relationship like a movie trailer, and even though it really sucks right now, your mind only chooses the good parts to create that trailer, and you keep replaying this mental trailer with the best highlights in order to feel at ease with yourself. And here's a wonderful quote that I like that portrays that point brilliantly. When all you know is fight or flight, red flags and butterflies all feel the same. And final, number 3, how to shift back into your power. So what can you do when you feel yourself chasing or craving approval from a man? Well, the first thing that I want you to think about is this. You're trying to receive something from him that you don't know how to give yourself, okay? Listen to that again. You're trying to receive something from him that you don't know how to give yourself. You're not weak, you're not desperate, you're just trying to outsource something that was never meant to be outsourced. If you want reassurance, give it to yourself. If you want to feel chosen, start choosing yourself in small, consistent ways. And this is not about self-love as a buzzword, it's about emotional responsibility. When you feel the urge to chase, pause for a second, and not to pretend that you're unbothered, not to act high value, but to ask, what part of me feels like I'm about to be left behind? Because that part of you doesn't need to be fixed. It needs your leadership. So instead of texting him one more time to see if you're still in his mind, just take a walk, breathe, and even write the message that you wish you would get from him and read it to yourself. Not because that replaces a relationship, but because it reconnects you with your own voice. When you start to meet your emotional needs internally without over-explaining, over-apologizing, or overextending, something is going to shift. You stop needing people to prove that you're lovable, okay? And ironically, that's when you become the most magnetic, because power is not noise, it's clarity. And clarity is what keeps you attracting from alignment, not from anxiety. Alright ladies, so to close the video, I always like giving you a question to think about. And you can answer it in the comments just so I can get to know what most of you are thinking. And here it is. Would you rather be with a man who gives you emotional safety but little passion, or someone who gives you deep passion but emotional instability? And I know that most of you are thinking, but Ismail, I want both. Why do I have to pick one? I want emotional safety and passion. But the point of this exercise is for you to find out, what do you value more? Because that's going to help you have more clarity when choosing a man. Anyways, thank you for subscribing to my channel. I'm glad that you chosen me to learn about self-love, dating, and relationship dynamics. Because like I always say, for your relationships to change, you need to change, okay? Have a beautiful day.